Hi everyone, and thank you for taking a few minutes to watch this week's video, which is how should we define or how should we measure success? Now we all want to be successful, but what does that actually mean? I spent almost 20 years working in the wealth advice industry, working with some incredibly successful business owners and senior professionals. I learnt a lot. I'm going to give you some of these learnings today. But before I do, as always, it would mean a great deal if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel. The more likes and the more subscribes that I get, the greater the audience and the more people get to hear this messaging, which is amazing. And thank you for those that have already been liking and subscribing. Keep it up and share this video amongst your community. Why? Well, it means a lot to me, but also I think a lot of people need to hear this messaging about success. Again, almost 20 years have taught me a lot about attaining this idea of success. In fact, I saw so many almost kill themselves in the hunt, in the pursuit of becoming successful. Many just making themselves very unwell, sacrificing their nutrition, their movement, their mindset, perhaps even sacrificing their environment, or what I call their social environment, letting go of friendships and relationships in the pursuit of trying to attain this idea of success. If I go back kind of 5 years and I think, well, what were the most common responses people would give me when I said, define success? You would hear things like income and cash flow. You would hear things like assets, perhaps property and cars, not so much an asset, but let's call it an asset. It could be share portfolio, cash, assets. Also things. I call things, sparkly things. Someone's perceived to be successful if they could afford certain brands of clothing, watches, phones. You were successful if you wore certain items of clothing. Your title, perhaps your professional title, your president, your vice president, your CEO, your COO, you're perceived as being successful. What about your status? Here I'm talking about your community, more your social circle. What was your status in the community? Perceived as being successful. And more recently, people's social media was a definition of success. If you had 1 million followers, well, were you successful? But when you unpack even just social media, of those 1 million subscribers or followers, how many were real? How many were bots? How many were paid for? You see, once you start to scratch the surface of what this success thing is, you start to realize you can't gauge success by perception. So let's unpack that. First, perception of someone who is incredibly successful in business, let's say. Career, they're earning high income, their business has huge turnover of revenue, the staff numbers are growing, product lines are growing, the brand is growing, the individual is working their way up the corporate ladder. Success. However, you talk to a lot of the people that have gone on this journey, and so many are unhappy, unfulfilled, even lonely. It surprised me, to be brutally honest. It surprised me because, well, I would judge success by what someone looked like, how much they earned, where they lived. I did that. I worked in a world where success was so heavily tied to financial, to income, to status. And it wasn't until I stepped back out and started to question this that I realized perhaps we need to go a little bit deeper here. And this is now the messaging that I put out to businesses, to leadership teams, to the one-on-ones that I coach with, is getting to understand the deeper definition of success. So let's think about it. Would you be successful if you achieved a personal or a financial goal? Yes. Would you be successful if you were financially secure? Yes. Would you be successful if you had balance in your life? Yes. Would you be successful if you had achieved something, completed something, a challenge, built something? I'd say yes. Would you be successful if your biological age is lower than your chronological age? That is, you're physically built like a 28-year-old, but you're actually 35 years old. I'd say yes. So what we start to see is the definition of success can actually be pretty broad. It could mean all of those things. Again, the definition of success has evolved and moved from those things I spoke about before. But let's go deeper again. Success is something that should be specific to you. This is the key. I'm going to give you 4 things to understand what your personal success should look like, and I'm going to come to that. But the overarching theme here, guys, is success should be specific to you. And we don't see this. What I saw so much over that near 20 years working with clients on their financial journey was that their idea of success had been influenced, impacted, guided, manipulated, call it what you will, by external factors. Society, social media, and industry was a big one, friends, family, and colleagues. We tend to be quite malleable and impressionable as humans. And so we'll suppress our true feeling of what success means to fit in with society, family, friends, community, etc. I did. Over my almost 20 years, when I look back, what I was working towards was not my true idea of success. It was something that had changed and evolved because of the people around me, the community around me had impacted, changed, influenced what I was trying to work towards. So the first thing I would say is get clear on what your own personal idea of success is. And I'm going to tell you how to do that in a minute with 4 key ways. So let's fast forward. It's been 5 years. We've gone through COVID. That gave us time to think and reflect. That impacted us in more ways than we ever could have imagined. We were forced to be home, etc., etc., etc. That time gave us the ability to think about what success meant, what our end goal was, and these are the things I'm hearing now. Success is often defined by and includes, yes, income and cash flow. I have to put it back in there. It's still so important. But perhaps the emphasis on that number has changed. What was once X is now Y. There's been some thought behind what that number is. And perhaps the emphasis placed on that being the top of the table might not be the case anymore. Perhaps it sits at 2 or 3. Flexibility is deemed as being successful for so many now. If they have flexibility in their day and their life, they're deeming it as being successful. Family, health, and experiences. These are all things that I hear people say, I think I'll be successful when I have more balance in my life. I can segment off how much time I'm spending at work to enable me to have a certain amount of time with friends and family. I will be successful when I enable myself to have experiences throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year I will be successful when I spend X amount of time with my family. So we've seen, I think, a deeper understanding of what success means. It's gone beyond perception. It's become specific to the individual and less impacted by society, community, industries, friends, family, and colleagues. It still happens. I think it's almost impossible for it not to impact you to some degree what your definition of success looks like. But that's where it becomes really important to have someone holding you accountable, to be working with someone, a coach or a mentor, to guide you through this journey that is life, to help you get clear on what your idea of success is and help you along that journey. Not deviating from the path, perhaps going down a different track because that's what an industry tells you you should be doing. So these 4 ways of measuring success and defining and understanding success, what are they? Number 1, get crystal clear on what your values are. I use the Barrett Values Assessment. It's a simple online tool, incredibly useful to give you some information, some context around what your values are by simply answering some questions online. Our values should be our guiding principles. They should influence what we say yes to, what we say no to, and the actions that we take. If we go against our values, what I see is people becoming unhappy and unfulfilled when they achieve something that is misaligned with who they are at their core. So number 1, get crystal clear on what your values are. And image of success should be built off of those core values. Also think about what your passions are. What puts a smile on your dial? What fills your cup? What are the things that, let's be honest, we often sacrifice in the pursuit of income, career, business success? Health and passions are often the 2 I see get sacrificed every time. But having passions in our life is so important. But understand what yours are and making time for those. They're called experiences, creating memories. Now, once you start to think about all of this, how do you put it all together and put it somewhere that's going to remind you, motivate you, inspire you every single day? Well, that's through creating a vision board. I have a vision board that is digital. It's on my desktop, in front of my face every single day. A vision board should contain images of your end goal, of your true idea of success. It should contain words that perhaps are derived from your values. It should be emotional. It should evoke emotion. It should drive you, but be a clear representation of your idea of success. So create a vision board. And the last one is, it's a tough one. I want you to take an audit of the people around you. Perhaps we spend a lot of time with people that don't motivate us, encourage us, support us, love us, make us laugh. Sometimes it's difficult to spend less time with certain people, especially when they're family. But if you need to do that to enable you to achieve your idea of success, to spend time with people that are uplifting and encouraging and motivating and fun and bring you joy and happiness, then you need to do that. It's not about cutting people off and having a really uncomfortable conversation. It's about perhaps reallocating the time that you spend with those individuals. So, how do I summarize all of this? Success. Success should be measured first off by understanding who you are, what your values are, what truly brings you happiness and joy, and that is success. Don't let your idea of success be influenced by those around you. Don't let them add things into your vision board that perhaps you don't really care about, but they do. Understand that success is not about the image the person portrays, by which I mean don't judge a book by its cover. If someone visually looks successful to you, understand that perhaps they might be unhappy, unfulfilled. They might be incredibly stressed. They too need to go on their own journey. So swim your own race. Don't worry about the people in the other lanes. Be clear on your own race, your own tactics, your own values, and achieve your idea of success. Again, go back, self-reflect, do a values assessment. The Barrett Values Assessment is great. And have someone hold you accountable. Whether it's a friend, a family, a colleague, coach, or a guide, or a mentor, or someone who can help you maintain the straight journey that you want to take and not deviate through influence of external factors. Guys, thank you so much, as always, for dialing in. Please, johnpearl.com, jump online. You can subscribe there to receive my mail from my mailing list. You get my blogs, you get my videos, and you get any workshops, retreats that I might be running as well before anyone else. Guys, take care, look after yourself.